ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ
Welcome to all our viewers and listeners. This is Anu here from Migrant Workers Association. We bring you today's radio show from Radio Inqilab. We join you every Wednesday through our YouTube channel, live YouTube and Facebook timelines, my timeline, and sorry about that. We've been doing these shows on Wednesdays, specifically focusing on migrant workers and issues of migrants in New Zealand. So this is our first show since the new residence visa was announced last week. So a lot of contact has been received by us between today and the announcement.
I think it'll be second program because we done one with Joe
on Friday. Yes, that's right. You're right. Thank you. Yes, we actually normally we discuss other topics in the Friday show, but because of such a big announcement, we dedicated Friday's show to this as well. Yeah, absolutely right. So today it's the same topic again, the new residence visa. We will talk about, towards the end of the show, we'll talk about the sort of questions we've been getting and what the answers are. We are both founding members of Migrant Workers Association along with other members too, but we also have a capacity, or I have a capacity as an immigration advisor, so I'm licensed to answer your questions, so I'll do that towards the end of the show. But first we have a guest speaker with us. We will soon have on air with us Mike Treen. He is the advocate from Unite Union. Now, about 10 years ago, we were formed with a lot of support from Unite Union, and more recently we have become formally affiliated with Unite Union. So one of our veteran activists who has been very, very instrumental, I would say, in helping to get this victory, albeit partial victory, for our migrants. So we will, with Mike, we will be specifically talking about migrants who have been left out of this announcement. So migrants who are not eligible for this residence visa. What are we about to do for them? What have we already been doing for them in the last few days? So that's what we'll focus on. So I'll just say the same in Punjabi as well, because our shows are always in Punjabi, and I know there is a lot of listenership, viewership out there. So दोस्तों, मैं अनु खलोटी माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स एसोसीएशन तो मेरे नाल भारती जी ने. सो असी अज दे शो च गलबात करांगे जिहड़ा नवां रेजिडेंस वीज़ा अनाउंस होया है. शो दे अखीर च असी जिस तरह दे सानू सवाल आ रहे ने, क्वीरीज आ रही ने, उन्हां दे जवाब देने की कोशिश करांगे. पर उस तो पहला साडे नाल अज दे प्रोग्राम च मेहमान होणगे माइक ट्रीन, जिहड़े कि यूनाइट यूनियन दे एडवोकेट ने. और क्योंकि माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स एसोसीएशन 10 साल पहला यूनाइट यूनियन की सपोर्ट नाल फॉर्म हुई है, और हुण असी फॉर्मली उन्हां दे नाल एफिलिएटेड भी हैं. सो माइक ट्रीन शुरू तो ही साडे एक कहांगी सीनियर ਗਾਈਡ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂਟੋਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਜਿੱਤ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਹਲੇ ਉਹ ਜਿੱਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਜਿੱਤ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਨਾਲ, ਮਾਈਕ ਟ੍ਰੀਨ ਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਆ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਾਈਕ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰੀਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਕਲੂਡ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਈਕ ਦੀ ਅਗੇਨ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੀਤ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਹੀ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਮਾਈਕ ਨਾਲ ਫੋਨ 'ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਾਬਤਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸੋ ਯਾ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਸਟੇ ਵਿਦ ਅਸ, ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਫੋਨ ਮਾਈਕ and during this song we'll phone him and we will be with you again very, very soon.
ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ, ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ। ਆਟੇ ਬਾਜ ਪੜੋਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਖਣੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਐ, ਆਟੇ ਬਾਜ ਪੜੋਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਖਣੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਐ।
Hello, welcome back to the show, and I believe we have Mike Treen with us on the phone line. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Anu.
Hi, welcome to the show. It's been a very busy last few days. So what we are trying to do in today's show is that if we explain to our viewers, our listeners once again, how did, what all we have been doing to get this announcement that was announced, or albeit a partial victory.
Start, yeah.
So yeah, what did we all do to achieve this?
Well, this is a product of a long campaign which identified the exploitation of migrant workers that was occurring in the New Zealand economy, and the super exploitation that has been imposed in particular through the prolonged maintenance of temporary worker categories over many years, and then blocking that category from being able to transition to permanent residency. This was a deliberate and policy in order to aid employers and allow exploitation to be rife. So we identified this as a significant issue to be resolved in the post-COVID environment, and targeted it for a campaign to provide pathways to residency. And so this, on one level, this has been a huge success. 165,000
Yep.
workers getting a pathway to residency, and it wasn't the complete group that we were targeting, but it's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, several organisations came together. Unite Union, Migrant Workers Association. We also have First Unions, Unimeg on board, One Union, and then several other social justice organisations like AAAP, other newly formed migrant groups. Many people came together, and wherever COVID lockdowns allowed, we always took to the streets, and the migrants themselves will be back. Are we back?
Yep, we're back.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
All right. Sorry about that, folks.
So we launched a campaign almost a year ago 20,000 signatures on a petition. We involved the Green Party, gave their support, which was important, and reached out to employer organisations, but they were reluctant to get involved. And then the National Party, they were refused to get involved. The ACT Party refused to get involved. So people should know that.
Yes, I think they should,
And because they're fake friends now, or wanting to claim that they had some part of this victory. They did not. They wanted to maintain the methods of exploitation, not see an end to it.
Yeah, and a lot of...
approached the ACT, for example, I approached the ACT Party leader in Parliament directly and spoke to him about supporting our campaign, and he said it was not possible politically.
Yes, I remember that. We were attending a conference that was talking about anti-slavery legislation and how to eradicate migrant exploitation. I remember that too. We had our petition with us, and I clearly remember, and how now everyone's trying to claim the credit for this victory. So and I was just talking about how so many organizations have been involved, and then the migrants themselves, and in the recent months we saw the size of those protests and growing.
Yes, and that was an important part of the campaign, was giving confidence, I think, and because it's difficult for people and they're worried, and their visa depends on the government and their employer and so on. So it's very difficult for workers in this situation to be able to raise their voices directly. And it's one of the victories is that we've now got another 165,000 workers who have more rights than they had before, and they'll be able to make those voices heard, and they need to start making their voices heard for those who have been left out of this current proposal. And I'd like to identify 2 or 3 categories that I think we should continue to campaign for. One is the overstayers, and in particular, I think that this is from the Pacific community who have been in New Zealand longer, and there are some 14 or 15,000 overstayers who need to be regularised, and they need to be brought into the team of 5 million. There are those who are on student visas who are not eligible, and some were forced to go from work visas onto student visas because of the changing conditions that the government was imposing on people, changing goalposts. So it's unfair, I think, that those who are here on student visas, or especially the ones who were on work visas, that they should be denied participation in this pathways. And then there are those who are caught, who would have been part of this pathway if they hadn't accidentally been caught overseas when they went home temporarily to visit their family before the COVID thing occurred. There's another group that are the people on temporary visas in New Zealand, or working for labour hire companies who, again, may have been here for some time, but don't quite sort of fit the category. So, we can try and push the envelope open, but it's easier, I think, to push the envelope open once we've made such a significant start with that, with the categories we've already achieved.
Absolutely, and there are so many people who are not eligible at the moment because they're not on one of those visas which are listed, and those workers. I've been contacted by so many healthcare workers, like nurses, who've been on the front lines. There's one who she sent me so many photos of her doing, testing people for COVID, swabs, vaccines. Those workers, that they are essential workers, frontline workers, and that they've been critical for the government's effort, or our effort as a country to keep COVID out. So we are leaving those people behind. It's just absurd. Yeah, and there are many, many, many situations and scenarios like that. So I guess that kind of brings me on to the next point. So what do we plan next? And we also have to bear in mind that Auckland, where the biggest migrant population lives, is still in a level 3 lockdown.
I think that we should continue now that we've broken the ice on it, right? So it's sort of it's happened, and it's happened for a significant number of people. And on one level, it's been politically useful and advantageous for the government. So we should just hold them to the same sort of that the same motivation that made them make that decision applies to these other categories, right? So, and I think we need to start getting their stories told. So it
Yes.
may be that we need to, do some things like town hall meetings or big meetings where these people in these different categories can tell their stories. We were doing that during the first part of the campaign, but I think we need to get the story, get people's human stories
Yes.
being told as part of this campaign. It has a powerful impact, I think, and people will be sympathetic and think, well, yes, if we can do it for that group, we should do it for that group.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's already a petition underway. One of our fellow activists, Rachel Swan, she started it as soon as she heard the announcement, I think, because she and her partner wouldn't qualify. So that petition has done almost, I think just over 20,000 signatures in less than a week. So that's quite telling.
That's great work.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
No, I think people are more. I think people are more hopeful, more confident, and also, more. They want it to be fair and just. Everyone wants it to be fair and just, and expanding the criteria can only make it fairer.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and if it's a one-off, then it makes sense to include everybody. It's not as if this category is going to be here. It's not here to stay. It's just a one-off.
No.
So no, absolutely, it makes complete sense. Do you have any questions for Comrade Mike?
I think we have a message from Sebastian. I accidentally made the link to be private on Facebook. Maybe that's why we are not getting any comments. Maybe I just need to pause, or maybe we should finish with Comrade.
We can. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Much appreciated, and the fight continues.
Touch, yes.
Yeah. All right.
More to be done.
All good. All good.
As soon as the lockdowns lift, and I'm sure people already are very, very motivated to take to the streets and to protest.
Yes, and everyone who's got a visa should feel it's their duty to help others.
Absolutely. That's their way of paying back, I guess, to those who've all been fighting. Yeah. All right.
Comrade, just sorry, before you go, I just want to add this Pathway to Residency campaign. It's your invention in 2018, so it's nothing new. Yourself and I think
I've been writing. It's true. I personally spent a significant amount of time researching, trying to understand, researching, and trying to find what's the solution to the problem that exists. And it seemed obvious to me, a couple of years ago, that the pathway, certainly at least a couple of years ago, that the pathways to residency was the only solution to this problem. But the COVID, in a sense, I didn't think we had much hope of getting that pathways to residency, but the COVID crisis gave us an opportunity to make it seem sensible and reasonable to a much bigger sector of the population and politically winnable. And so COVID has been a disaster for that, for many things, but on this thing, it has actually aided the search for justice.
For sure. Thanks, Comrade. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
All right. I think we'll be back in a few minutes.
We're just going to pause.
We're just going to pause and then we'll come back.
Yeah, because I don't see any Facebook Lives either. So okay.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We thought maybe we weren't live on Facebook, but we've just checked on our timelines. We are.
Sebastian, I just checked the setting and it's definitely public.
Maybe it's lagging. I don't know.
Maybe it's lagging or
perhaps.
Maybe some other reason.
Yeah.
I did notice there was no comments coming, so I thought I made a mistake. But it's definitely.
But on my Facebook timeline, it's definitely live, and there are a couple of comments as well there. So we're live somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was Mike Treen with us, advocate from Unite Union. I guess in this kind of setup, we probably won't be able to sort of answer direct questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over very briefly what the visa is and, the way it stands at the moment, who all are eligible. So I'll do that. And then, all the contact we've had since Thursday. So we'll pick up some scenarios and questions from there. So this one-off new residence visa 2021 was announced on 30th of September. And to be eligible for it, there are few different ways how you can be eligible and apply. There are two batches, two lots, how they'll take applications. So the first batch will be on 1st of December 2021, and that is specifically reserved for families who have an EOI, expression of interest, already in the system. And if they have child or children 17 years or older, they will get preference to make an application. And if there are people who already have skilled migrant category applications in the system, so not just an EOI, so you made an EOI and then you were invited to apply. So if you were invited to apply and you've got an application in, those people can also apply for this visa on 1st of December. Now, a lot of people ask, will I have to pay again? And I think what I've heard is that they will not ask you to make a payment, no application fee up front. When they come to process your one-off new residence visa, I think they will make adjustments with what you have already paid. That's my understanding, but there's more information coming soon by the end of this month from INZ, so we'll have a better idea. And also people are worried that, those who are in the SMCQs, EOIs, we've already waited more than a year. Do we have to be stuck in another queue now? Now, I saw a Zoom meeting that was Facebook lived by someone today where they had the minister and officials from immigration. And the minister kept reiterating that this will be fast. This will be fast-tracked. So that's why the requirements for these applications are minimal. You don't need an offshore police clearance certificate unless INZ specifically ask for it. And there are just minimal health requirements. So that's kind of it. There isn't anything else we've been told yet. So it sounds like that it will be fast-tracked. So that's the first pool of people. The second pool of people who can apply from 1st of March 2022 until end of July 2022. So the eligibility criteria for those people are, if you have been here for 3 years, now the way they are calculating 3 years is you should have arrived in New Zealand no later than 29th of September 2018, and you should have also been in New Zealand at the moment, or 29th of September 2021 onwards, and at the time of application. And in those 3 years, you should have been here a minimum of 821 days. So a lot of people are calculating their 821 days just straight back from 29th of September this year. No, it has to be 821 days between those two dates, 29th September 2018 up to 2021. If you've been here for 3 years and you are on just about any visa except student visa, except an open partnership-based work visa, except there are one or two other categories as well. So most other visas that give you work rights and you've been here 3 years, you can apply on 1st of March next year. If you are on all of those visas but haven't been here for 3 years, but you are paid $27 per hour or more, and that pay rate has to be on the 29th of September this year and all the way up to the date that you are going to make your application, then you can make an application too. So again, if you haven't been 3 years, if you don't earn that much, but your job is on a scarce list, so they've provided you 4 different skill shortage lists, long-term, and then occupations, and then 1 or 2 others. It's all on Immigration New Zealand website. And then that also allows you to make the application on 1st of March. And again, you have to be in that job on the 29th of September this year and at the time you make your application. So this is all the information that we've been provided so far. We don't know what the application fee is. We don't know what the application form looks like. It'll be online. It's not a paper application, so that's another reason it'll be fast-tracked. main applicant can also include partners. It doesn't matter what visa your partner is on. It's the principal applicant who has to be eligible. So you can include partners, even if your partners are offshore, but you are onshore, you can include your partners and dependent children. So the people, other people you include your application, they don't have to be onshore, they can be offshore. So that's the process that we've been told so far. We will get more information by the end of this month, and then we'll be in a better position to tell you more. So now we have had enormous amount of contact in the last 4 days, through emails to all our different email addresses that we have, including our personal emails. We've had text messages, we've had private messages through Facebook, through our Facebook pages. Huge amount of contact that, in fact, and I think other advisors or other activists or people, faces that are in the public arena with this work, they've all had the same sort of contact. So main scenarios, the contact is mainly from people who have been left out. So student visa holders being the main one, like Mike mentioned. There are so many people who are on student visas at the moment, but been here for like way more than 3 years. So those people are not fresh new students, and they have gone back to study through no fault of their own. So they came in as students, got their open work visas, then got their essential skills or employer supported, and then there was no pathway for them to become residents. They thought, okay, we will go back to study, either to upskill or to try a different trade, or that is the only way we can stay here. So that's why there are so many people on student visas and been here a long time. They got partners on open partnership work visas. They got dependent children on student visas or visitor visas. So that is quite a large group who are disadvantaged. And a lot of them are actually doing higher study, and they are the skills that this government so keeps telling us that they want higher skilled, higher quality migrants. I mean, to us, every human is equal. We don't see it like that. So and there are a lot of PhD students as well. In fact, in our team, Commuter, Mauricio, he is part of a Federation of Aotearoa Migrants. And in fact, he does all the work, like the behind the scenes work. He does so much. And he's a PhD student, and he on artificial intelligence, that's his subject, which is like required globally. So he doesn't qualify. So it's just absolutely crazy that people like that are being left out. The other group of people,
I had a call from exactly the same.
Yep.
The fellow's wife, she's also PhD student, very similar. And we had our activist Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel Swan, yeah. I mean,
Swan.
she's on an open work visa because her partner is doing a PhD. Again, yeah. So, these are specialist areas that the country needs, skills that we need. And it makes sense to keep everybody who is already here. Other queries that we've had, people who haven't been here quite 3 years. So, again, it makes sense to keep those people here. The other big one is partners of student visa holders. So if you study beyond a certain level, this is past a bachelor's degree and higher levels, families and partners are allowed to have open work visas. And so there are so many people who are actually essential workers and frontline workers, and they have contributed so much in COVID, and yet they are not included in this one-off residency visa. So that's another large group there. And I've got so many people sending me their stories, and we're sitting on hundreds and hundreds of case studies at the moment, which if we need to provide that kind of information, obviously we won't be providing names. We will just be providing scenarios to Parliament, to the Minister if we need to. We've got so much at the moment. And then people who are stuck offshore, another huge sacrifice there. Most of them would be eligible if they were here. So it's an online application. Why not just extend it to people who are offshore? Let them apply. We are not saying open the border and let them in. Just let them apply for this residence. And whenever the border reopens, they can come back as residents.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome. if offshore partners can be included, what have we work visa holders done wrong?
Gill, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. Very good point. And that's what we have been working towards. So as soon as we heard the announcement, we were all heads down, heads together, together with Ricardo from the Green Party, with Mike and all our other partners, people who usually support us with the protests and the campaigns. So Ricardo from the Green Party, Ricardo Mendes-Smach, he did send a letter to the minister on Friday afternoon, and he also made that letter public, and all the demands are there. And also reuniting separated families. So see, we are talking about temporary visa holding migrants, but then there is quite a large group. Well, I don't know how large it is. It's probably not that big. It's just a matter of few thousand. People like Katie Armstrong will have data for that. So there are New Zealand citizens who have partners from other countries, but those partners are not being allowed to come in because of COVID or because of living together requirements. And in some cases, those couples have children together. So, let those people come in as well, please. We all sorts of excuses are used, like, our border is closed, COVID is a risk, MIQ, there's no spaces. And yet we allow sports teams, we allow filming crews to come in. And, how is that okay? Let those families reunite. That's another thing that we put in that letter that Ricardo sent out. So work is underway. And it may just take a little bit more time. And like Mike said, so people who have benefited from this, please, we actually absolutely urge you. We put an appeal out that now it is your turn to come and support the ones who have not benefited. So whenever we announce a public meeting, a march, a rally, or whatever we announce, we expect people to join us in large numbers.
And signing the petition.
So there's a petition, it's by Rachel Swan, it's on change.org, and it has around 20,000 signatures. And I'm actually thinking, if that is all we have to take care of, it can't be just 20,000 people who need help. There's a bit more than that, because that petition has also been signed by people like us who actually don't need help. We are permanent residents. So, yeah, there must be more people who can sign that petition. That's what I'm thinking. There's at least 165,000 people out there who are okay now or will be okay. They need to sign that petition so that my figures are there, maybe around 40 to 50,000 people who have been left behind. So 100. Yeah, we've also been talking about the biggest march that we had earlier this year down Queen Street in Auckland. There was about just over 1,000 people who marched, and that was the biggest migrant protest ever. So if 1,000 people marching can help bring change, that helps 165,000. If we can even have 10% of 165,000, like 17,000 people marching, that will help the remaining people who've been left out.
For sure.
So guys, that's all we need. We need to come together. And I know people can be scared, but a lot of people lost that fear and came out. A lot of people, like about 1,000, and were able to bring about this change. So just think about it. If more of us came out, it will be so much easier to make this policy, make this visa all inclusive. So that's what we've been experiencing in the last 4 or 5 days.
Sure. I think Punjabi.
Yeah, I think we'll say the same in Punjabi because we do have a lot of listenership.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੱਕਾ ਯਕੀਨ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਬਿਮਾਰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਆਇਆ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ YouTube ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ, ਸੋ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਗੜਬੜ ਹੈ ਆ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੋਈ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਸੀ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਦੋਸਤੋ, ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟਰੀਨ ਨਾਲ, ਔਰ ਮਾਈਕ ਟਰੀਨ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਵਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੰਸਟਰੂਮੈਂਟਲ ਨੇ। 2018 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਲੋਗਨ ਹੈ ਪਾਥਵੇ ਟੂ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ, ਉਹ ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟਰੀਨ ਦੀ ਦੇਣ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟਰੀਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਕੀਲ ਨੇ ਐਲੈਸਟਰ ਮੈਕਲਮਾਉਂਟ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਡਰਾਫਟ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਤਿੰਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ।
ਸੋ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ, ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤੀ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ 1-2 ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੂੰਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਈਨ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟ੍ਰੀਨ ਕੋਈ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਨੇ, 65 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਲ ਫੈਸਟੀਵਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਟਰੱਕ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਾਣ ਤੱਕ ਪੂਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਲਾਏ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ।
ਟਰੱਕ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਲਾਉਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਤਾਰਨੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਹੈ,
ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਜੀ। ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਸਾਥੀ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਡੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਦੇਣ ਆ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ, ਐਕਟਿਵਿਜ਼ਮ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ, ਉਹਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੇਨ ਮੋਟੀਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਸਰੋਤ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟ੍ਰੀਨ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਸਾਥੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਲਾਮ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਦੱਸ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਇਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਹਾਸਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ 3 ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਓਵਰਸਟੇਅਰਸ, ਆਫਸ਼ੋਰ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਵਾਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ
ਔਨਸ਼ੋਰ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਐਂਡ ਹੋਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀਆਂ,
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ, ਉਹ ਲੜਾਈ ਸਾਡੀ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਡਿਮਾਂਡ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਸ਼ਰਤਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਵਰਤਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਆਈਸ, ਮਤਲਬ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਹ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਿਰ ਰਾਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਅਮਨ ਗਿੱਲ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਆਇਆ ਅਨੂ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ
Ricardo always talk about offshore stuck worker but no one else even consider us like we never lived in NZ. Yeah, thank you, Aman. So we want this to be all inclusive. So yeah, people who are stuck offshore, like Ricardo put it really well the other day in the meeting. He was like, people who are stuck offshore, it's not because, the government needs to think, it's not because we want them to be stuck offshore. They are actually sacrificing and staying offshore so that New Zealand can stay safe. That's the reason. So the government just needs to turn it around and think like that, and just allow them to apply for this residence. That's all they need to do. We are not saying reopen the border. We are not saying bring them back straight away. If you can allow those offshore eligible migrants to make the application for residence, I think they will be really, really happy just with that. And then they come in as permanent or as residents whenever they can.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਅਮਨ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੋਸਟਰ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਗ ਦੈਮ ਬੈਕ, ਸਾਡੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੜ ਹੀ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਅਮਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟ੍ਰੀਨ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਭ ਡਰਾਮੇਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਐਕਟ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਥੀ ਮਾਈਕ ਟ੍ਰੀਨ ਨੇ ਅਪਰੋਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਕੇ,
ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ 'ਚ। ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਸੋ ਇਹ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਐਕਟ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਸਾਰੀ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਲਿਪ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਹੋਣ ਡਈ ਆ। ਅਸਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਿਕਾਰਡੋ ਹੁਣੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੁਣ ਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ,
ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ MP ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ
ਹੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਥੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਖੁਦ ਮਾਈਗਰੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਮਸਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬਾਈ ਜੀ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਏ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਓਨਾ ਹੀ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ ਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ। ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਗਲੀ, ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਫਸ਼ੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੱਕ ਮਾਈਗਰੈਂਟ ਨੇ, ਆਪਣੀ ਆਖਰੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ, ਲਾਸਟ ਫਾਈਟ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਹ ਓਵਰਸਟੇਅਰਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ। ਸੋ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਲੋਕਡਾਊਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਜਬੂਰੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ, ਬਾਕੀ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੈਲੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ,
ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਲੋਕਡਾਊਨ ਲਿਫਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਦੇयर ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਇਨ ਦ ਮੀਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਅਸੀਂ ਔਨਲਾਈਨ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ। ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਦਿਨ ਅਨਾਊਂਸਮੈਂਟ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ, ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਅਗਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ, ਜ਼ੂਮ 'ਤੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਸੀਗੀ ਸਾਡੀ। 50 ਕੁ ਜਣੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਕੁਆਇਟ ਬਿਗ ਫॉर ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਔਨਲਾਈਨ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਰੱਖੀ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਲੋਕਡਾਊਨ। ਉਹਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ ਸਮਥਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਮੇਕ ਐਨ ਅਨਾਊਂਸਮੈਂਟ।
ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ। ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਬੜੀ ਇਹ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਲੇਬਰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੋਰ ਵੈਲਿਊਜ਼ ਨੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਲੇਬਰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਇੱਕ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਮੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਦਾ ਬਿਹੇਵੀਅਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਹਿੱਲੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਿਲਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਤਿੱਖਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ ਔਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਲੋਕਡਾਊਨ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਹੋਰ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਤਿੱਖਿਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ PR ਹੋ ਵੀ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸੜਕਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮਜਬੂਰੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਰੁਕਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ ਸੋ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਿੱਖਾ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ
ਐਬਸੋਲੂਟਲੀ ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਵੱਲ ਵੱਧਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਜੀ ਜੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਵਰ ਹੋਈ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹੋ ਹੀ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਜਸਟ ਹੋਲਡ ਆਫ we are not able to reply to every single query we are getting right now. Mostly we are just getting scenarios and stories and people are sharing their pain with us and their agony, which is fine. We understand. But at the moment we are absolutely inundated. So I think we've got automatic responses on just about everything we can so that people don't feel that no one is at the other end. But media, that's absolutely important. In the last couple of days, every media outlet I've been speaking to, I have been encouraging them that you guys need to cover these stories and people want to talk to somebody who's been successful and now slowly I'm bringing media around to you also need to talk to people who have not been successful. Actually it is more important to talk to people who have not been successful in this. So I would encourage all of you to reach out to media as much as you can and also your local MPs. Reach out to them too because everybody needs to come together in this. So anyone who as much as who claims that they've been working hard to get this victory, whether they have been working towards this or not, that's besides the point, but going forward ask for help. Ask them to get your stories out. Ask them to take your voice further forward through the channels of Parliament. So I know at the moment there are several other organisations who we've never heard of until after the announcement was made. So reach out to those organisations. Ask them to help you and ask them to be transparent at the same time because there's all sorts of stuff going on. People trying to sort of I don't know. Yeah, there's all sorts. So my point is, any person who says, I did this, did that, and that's how we've achieved this, just challenge them a bit more. Hey, we haven't achieved everything that we needed to. Let's keep going. So get help from wherever you can.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਖਾਸ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਵੀ ਧਿਆਨ ਦਿਓ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦਾ ਕਰੋਪ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ ਸੋ 11 ਤਰੀਕ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਵਾ ਜੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਫਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀਜ਼ੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਐਕਸਟੈਂਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੈਲੀ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੁਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੌਣ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਸੋ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਇਹ 9 ਵਜੇ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਹਾਂਜੀ 11 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਦਿਨ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਸਵੇਰੇ 9 ਵਜੇ ਜੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਰੈਲੀ ਰੱਖੀ ਗਈ ਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਰੈਲੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹ ਦੇਸ਼ ਭਗਤ ਯਾਦਗਾਰ ਹਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਇਸ ਰੈਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ ਔਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬੁਲੰਦ ਕਰੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ 'ਤੇ ਇਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਮੇਨ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਜਗਦੀਪ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ 'ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਹੈ ਆ ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਇਸ ਰੈਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਕਰੋ
ਸੋ ਫॉर ਦੋਜ਼ ਹੂ ਡੋਨਟ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬਟ stuck in India specifically. So there is a protest happening this coming Monday, 11th of October, 9 a.m. This is going to be in Delhi, Jantar Mantar, which everyone knows where that is, in Delhi. 9 a.m. coming Monday, 11th of October in the morning. So please go and join. The same group has organized previous protests as well in various parts of mostly Punjab, but in Delhi and Chandigarh as well. So the person to contact there is Jagdeep Dhillon. You will find him easily on Facebook, and he's done several media interviews as well. And you'll find this probably going around on Facebook anyway. So coming Monday, 11th of October, 9 a.m. in the morning, Jantar Mantar in Delhi.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਜਗਦੀਪ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਜਗਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ
and Jagvinder Singh. Yeah, you'll find this quite easily on Facebook. So I think that's us for today. Yep. We will catch up again.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਗਾਣਾ ਚਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਰਤਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਤੇ ਓਕੇ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਸਲਾਮ
Goodbye.
ਅਗਲੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ 'ਤੇ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੀਤੇ ਕੁਛ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਛ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਯੂਪੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਾਂਡ ਹੋਇਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਸਾਥੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਤਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਸੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਸੋ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ 7 ਵਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ
Stay safe and stay strong.
ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ ਆਟੇ ਬਾਜ ਪੜੋਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਖਣੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਐ ਆਟੇ ਬਾਜ ਪੜੋਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਖਣੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਐ ਲੁੱਟਦੀ ਮਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਾਮੇ ਸਿਰ ਹੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਐ ਲੁੱਟਦੀ ਮਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਾਮੇ ਸਿਰ ਹੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਐ ਸਿਖਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਿੱਤ ਜਾਵੇ ਜੜੀ ਮਹਿੰਗਾਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ ਨਾ ਭਗਤ ਸਰਾਪੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਆਈ ਵੇ ਲੋਕੋ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਵੋ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਾਮਿਓ ਵੇਲਾ ਹੋਵਣ ਦਾ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਵੋ ਕਿਰਤੀ ਕਾਮਿਓ ਵੇਲਾ ਹੋਵਣ ਦਾ ਵੇਲਾ ਹੁਣ